In what should be dubbed the Marshawn Lattimore Bowl, the Washington football team Commanders are taking on the New Orleans Saints, and this is actually a pretty interesting game, in my opinion. To start off, we have Washington with a pretty big advantage, with Jaden Daniels being a tier 1 quarterback. And yes, I realize that he has kind of had a lull in the season where he's not playing as excellently as he once was, but he's still playing very well. So he's a tier 1 guy for me. This is based on 4 analytics I have combined together, so it's not just my opinion. And yeah, Daniels is as good as it gets for me right now. Next, we have Derek Carr, who might be playing, he might not be. He's a tier 2 guy. He's been playing at a very high level, and he's kind of flown under the radar, I would say, as the Saints haven't been doing well as a whole. So people think that the quarterback obviously sucks as well. But that's not the case. Carr has been playing very well. I would say he's playing the second best ball of his career. The first being obviously when he was an MVP candidate before getting hurt in I don't remember actually when. I was going to say 2017, but I have no idea. That might be way off. So I'm not even going to act like I have an idea. But yes, Derek Carr playing very well. If it's not Derek Carr, there's going to be an even greater advantage for the Commanders, as Jake Haener would be playing, and he is not anywhere close to what Daniels is. I guess that's not totally fair. There's sort of a question mark around him, more so than there is a definitive he sucks. But I would say if there's a question mark around your quarterback, there's a good chance that he does suck. Next for the Commanders, New Orleans has a terrible pass protection, and Washington has mid pressure. They're not great, but they're a lot better than New Orleans is at protecting against pressure. So that's a pretty big advantage. To be average-ish versus terrible, that's pretty different. And we shift now to the offense, where I guess we shift back to the offense because Jaden Daniels is an offensive player, if you didn't realize quarterbacks are offensive. Anyways, Washington's poor run blocking is actually better than New Orleans' awful run defense. Washington has a good ground game, but it's not because of blocking being there. It's mainly because Daniels is such a good runner and teams have to sell out to stop him that it allows for the running backs to have room. So there's going to be space and there's going to be an advantage in the run blocking, which is very rare for Washington because, again, they just do not block particularly well. But in this case, they're going to have the advantage because New Orleans is so bad at defending the run. Shifting now to the defense, we have a quality Dorrance Armstrong against a lacking offensive tackle in Trevor Penning. So that's a pretty big difference. Again, it's average-ish, a little bit above average, I would say, versus a not so good tackle. So there's kind of a tier or 2 difference between those 2 levels, which is pretty big. Finally, for the Commanders, we have Terry McLaurin. I'm very sorry for this being out of order. I don't know how this happened. I usually have it very synced up that it's offense, 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 then defense. But in this case, I failed miserably. Anyways, though, Terry McLaurin, he's a good wide receiver, and he's going against a meh cornerback in Kool-Aid McKinstry. So that's going to favor the Commanders pretty heavily. One thing that bothers me is that with Cliff Kingsbury being the offensive coordinator, he basically exclusively has McLaurin, I believe, on the left side of the quarterback, and he doesn't move him around basically ever. He's on the outside at all times, too. So that's a bit peculiar. It's kind of not with the times, but I will take McLaurin over McKinstry, and McKinstry is the best corner currently for the Saints, I would say, because he's been pretty good. I liked him a lot coming out of the draft, so maybe I'm holding on to priors a little bit with that, but I think he's solid. Shifting to New Orleans now, they have some advantages as well. One of them being that they have good run blocking versus Washington's poor run defense. So that should be a pretty big advantage for them. Alvin Kamara should have a lot of success in this game. Now, another thing they have is that they have a solid edge rusher in Carl Granderson against a poor offensive tackle in Andrew Watley. So that's going to be advantageous in the pass game because Granderson is a better pass rusher than Watley is a pass protector, but also he's a better run defender than Watley is a run blocker. And though I said they have some advantages, they definitely do. But one thing that is the case with them is they have a far lesser number of advantages because the final advantage they have, the third one, is that they have home field advantage, which is pretty big. They do have a pretty good home field advantage, I would say. They do have good fans, but they just have 3 advantages, and the Commanders have 5. And one of the advantages for the Commanders is at quarterback, and that might be even more glaring than it could be with Carr possibly not playing. So I'm going with the Commanders here. I think this could be a close game because the trench play is advantageous in multiple angles for both teams, but overall, I like the Commanders, especially because they have the advantage at quarterback. Those are my thoughts. Be sure to let me know what yours are in the comment section, and also be sure to like and subscribe for more content.